Beneath the cloak of night and the hush of shadowed cobblestones, an unseen world awaits, a place shaped by raw need, not opulent desire. During the Middle Ages, survival wasn't proclaimed from castle spires, but whispered from the cold, silent depths beneath our feet. Imagine a sprawling network of hidden cities across Europe, stretching from Anatolia's ancient core to Cornwall's rugged coastline. Here, medieval people carved lives into stone, building vast subterranean realms as a response to endless wars, unpredictable weather, and the persistent fears that lingered after sunset. Prepare your senses for a descent into these forgotten depths, where the past whispers, sharing stories as dark and rich as the very earth. As we begin this journey into the heart of medieval existence, we peer into hidden depths where survival found new meaning. Envision a world where staying alive meant digging deep, carving havens from rock and earth, creating secret shelters against the chaos and conflict raging above. The medieval period, often celebrated for its imposing castles and strongholds, also nurtured a civilization that flourished away from the sun's gaze, compelled by necessity and the enduring shadow of fear. Picture a landscape defined not merely by its skyward reach, but by the concealed labyrinths hidden below. These were invisible cities, entire communities thriving underground, designed with the practical need to endure sieges, invasions, and natural catastrophes. This was the reality of the Middle Ages in Europe, where the terrifying uncertainty on the surface drove vibrant, hidden lives underground. From the ancient lands of Anatolia to Cornwall's windswept shores, people built these underground sanctuaries as strongholds against the ravages of time and upheaval, a primal human urge to find comfort beneath the visible world's surface. In Anatolia, now part of modern Turkey, we uncover the astounding marvels of Derinkuyu and Kaymaklı. These ancient underground cities, significantly expanded during the medieval period, stand as testaments to incredible architectural skill. Entire communities would disappear from the surface, retreating below at the slightest hint of danger. These subterranean networks were far from simple hiding spots. Instead, they were intricately planned wonders, built for prolonged stays, allowing thousands to live undetected for months on end. Visitors today can still marvel at the sophistication of these urban layouts, witnessing remarkable human resilience. Spaces were equipped with essential communal areas like kitchens, storage rooms, chapels, and even wineries, all painstakingly carved from volcanic rock. It's a powerful display of human ingenuity where necessity sculpted both beauty and utility from raw stone. Moving from Anatolia, we arrive at the windswept coast of Cornwall, where medieval responses to threats took on forms as distinctive as the landscape itself. Here, the fear of violence from sea or land spurred the creation of bogus, stealthy, human-made underground passages. Unlike the sprawling networks in Anatolia, Cornwall's underground refuges were more modest, yet equally crucial. These spaces, serving as both storeroom and shelter, became vital lifelines for those seeking refuge when chaos loomed. In the cool dimness of these earthen sanctuaries, grain and other essentials were stored, enabling life to continue even as danger encroached from above. Throughout medieval Europe, the earth beneath one's feet provided a protective embrace. Many sought shelter below, transforming natural caves into homes and disused mines into communal areas. Life beneath the surface was primarily focused on survival, trading the openness of above-ground living for the security below. Families dwelled in cramped spaces, their lives imbued with the earthy scent of stone and the faint smell of smoke. Despite being cut off from the bustling world above, this subterranean existence fostered a unique culture. Shared struggles forged strong bonds, creating unified communities resilient in the face of the unpredictable world above. The ground was more than a refuge, it was a battlefield. Tunnels were critical during medieval sieges, where wars were fought just as intensely below ground as above. Both besiegers and defenders dug extensive networks, turning the earth into a contested medium. Mining, the strategic art of undermining castle foundations, was a terrifying undertaking. An atmosphere of intense silence and frantic digging characterized this underground warfare, an endeavor as fraught and brutal as any assault on the surface. This was a realm of hidden battles, where strategy and survival intertwined beneath the battlements. Underground landscapes held more than just practical significance. They were also places of deep spiritual meaning. Across Europe, monks chose to retreat into the earth's belly, carving out chapels and cells in their pursuit of solitude and divine connection. Enveloped in silence, these stone chambers became sacred spaces of worship, places where monks withdrew from worldly distractions. Candlelight danced on the cold stone, casting flickering shadows that echoed whispered prayers in the stillness. These humble subterranean retreats offered a stark contrast to the magnificent cathedrals above, embodying a spiritual quest defined by serenity and simplicity. Interestingly, not all underground domains originated as places of refuge. Many began as practical sites for extracting essential resources like stone, salt, and other minerals. Later, these spaces were adapted for dual purposes, serving as sanctuaries or even temporary settlements during times of crisis. When mines were exhausted, their cavernous interiors provided shelter or communal spaces utilized during outbreaks of plague or periods of war. These hidden shelters narrate a story of adaptation, where life was adjusted to the available resources, making the most of the precious space beneath. Finally, the inevitable reality of death also found its place underground. The devastating impact of plagues led to the creation of subterranean ossuaries, grim yet orderly collections of human remains. Catacombs beneath bustling cities became final resting places when disease spread unchecked. Walking these silent halls lined with bones offers a confrontation with the medieval world's harrowing dance with death. Each bone tells a story of lives cut short, serving as a stark reminder of existence's fragility and the enduring connection between life and the earth that cradles it. Thus, beneath the surface, the medieval world etched its narrative of perseverance and adaptation. By unearthing these subterranean stories, we gain glimpses into forgotten legacies, profound insights into the nature of survival, and the unwavering human spirit's ability to endure amidst adversity. As these stories resurface, they invite us to contemplate the indomitable human drive for safety, security, and the fundamental need to carve meaning from the earth's embrace. In the Cappadocia region of modern-day Turkey, the underground city of Derinkuyu is veiled in both mystery and necessity. Considered an ancient marvel of engineering, it holds the title of the largest excavated underground city known, descending approximately 60 meters and rumored to have provided shelter for up to 20,000 people. Early Christians expanded this subterranean labyrinth as a refuge from invaders, finding safety beneath layers of volcanic rock. One can only wonder how ancient cultures managed to carve such immense networks without the aid of modern tools. What compelled these communities to burrow so deeply into the earth? The answers are rooted in a history scarred by invasions, natural disasters, and religious persecution. Turning to subterranean living demonstrates both remarkable resilience and ingenious problem-solving, as the people of Derinkuyu forged a highly organized community beneath the surface. Imagining life underground evokes a symphony of senses: the aroma of shared meals prepared in communal kitchens, the cool touch of stone walls in schools and worship rooms, and the gentle warmth from candlelit chapels where prayers echoed. Even the sound of massive stone doors rolling across passageways, a crucial defensive mechanism, paints a vivid picture of the stark choices faced between the security offered below and the chaos above. The engineering at Derinkuyu was a testament to its time, featuring complex networks of narrow tunnels that expanded into larger communal spaces. Each level was designed for specific functions, ranging from living quarters to areas dedicated to livestock. The local volcanic rock, soft enough to carve yet sturdy enough to support the weight of the world above, was meticulously worked using only simple tools and sheer determination. An essential element of this design was a sophisticated system of ventilation shafts, ensuring fresh air reached every dimly lit chamber and preventing residents from being suffocated by smoke and dust. It stands as a silent monument to ancient capabilities, demonstrating that necessity can indeed be the mother of both creative thinking and technical skill. Life underground, though steeped in darkness, was a powerful testament to adaptation and community spirit. Families found a sense of normalcy amidst the closeness. Children learned in schools carved from stone. Meals were shared in communal spaces, and faith was practiced in makeshift chapels. The community's survival during prolonged periods of hiding depended heavily on stockpiled resources, with granaries and storerooms strategically placed throughout the complex. Despite the constant absence of sunlight, these people transformed constraints into comforts, maintaining morale through recreation, education, and daily routines that fostered a strong sense of togetherness. Defensively, Derinkuyu was almost impenetrable. Multi-ton circular stone doors, rolled into place, served as formidable deterrents to intruders. These doors could only be opened from the inside, guarding entrances with layers of stone and intentional design. The tunnels themselves were deceptive, featuring complex patterns, dead ends, and traps designed to confuse enemies and gain crucial time for those within. The layout, strategically brilliant in both its engineering and psychological impact, transformed the hidden city into a formidable fortress. Faith, a cornerstone of life in Derinkuyu, served as a unifying force for its underground inhabitants. From simple worship rooms to more elaborate chapels, spirituality flourished in the candlelit shadows, far removed from the oppressive eyes above. Christianity provided solace and a vital social framework, with sermons and services echoing softly against the stone walls. These spiritual domains became focal points for festivals and rites of passage, essential for maintaining cultural identity and mental fortitude amidst the uncertainties of life beneath the earth. Adapting to this isolated underground existence demanded extraordinary resourcefulness. Water was stored in ancient reservoirs, with systems of pipes ensuring access to this vital resource. The faint glow of oil lamps and torches provided both comfort and essential illumination, piercing the chilly darkness. People relied on preserved goods, grains, and livestock, ensuring nourishment despite the challenges of isolation. Through sheer innovation and sustainable practices, they cultivated a self-sufficient ecosystem within these shadowed depths. Derinkuyu's modern rediscovery occurred unexpectedly in 1963, when a local resident, while adjusting his wall, stumbled upon hidden rooms. This serendipitous discovery sparked widespread fascination among historians and archaeologists, unveiling a world that had lain concealed beneath the soil for centuries. It compelled modern scholars to reevaluate ancient survival strategies, shedding light on the life of a hidden yet remarkably vibrant society and offering valuable insights for our contemporary understanding of ancient ingenuity. Community life in Derinkuyu, though physically constrained, was robust, flourishing through interconnected responsibility and mutual support. A high degree of cooperation transformed limitations into a source of unity, ensuring that every member contributed to the collective survival. Despite the physical restrictions, the human spirit and a strong communal identity blossomed underground, a testament to enduring kinship and the resilience essential for navigating life's pressures. The legacy of Derinkuyu extends far beyond its immediate role as a sanctuary. Its remnants continue to inspire modern architects and urban planners interested in the concept of sustainable underground habitation. Lessons gleaned from its design and social structure influence contemporary ideas about expanding urban landscapes downward, driven by the pressures of space constraints and climatic challenges. Derinkuyu stands today, buried yet profoundly influential. It serves as a timeless testament to human tenacity, innovation, and the power of adaptation. Exploring Derinkuyu offers a rich wellspring of knowledge about survival and unity, honoring the ingenuity of those who crafted a world below to outlast the chaos above. Their lives etched in stone serve as a poignant reminder of a time when adaptation was not merely a choice, but an essential requirement. A lesson that resonates deeply with today's quest for sustainable living. Like whispers from the past, the corridors of Derinkuyu unfold narratives of courage and perseverance, imparting timeless truths about thriving amidst adversity. During the medieval era, monks traversed the silent corridors beneath the earth, drawn irresistibly to a life removed from worldly chaos. Their retreat was both an escape from the temporal world and a deliberate journey towards spiritual renewal. The depths offered a sanctuary where the boundaries between life and the afterlife seemed gently blurred, providing profound solace from the tumultuous world above. Among these hallowed havens, Kiev-Pechersk Lavra in Ukraine stands as a powerful bastion of religious devotion, a place where stone and spirit met in a harmonious dance. Here in the damp, shadowed chambers, monks willingly renounced earthly comforts, seeking and finding clarity and a profound closeness to the divine. Carving these subterranean sanctuaries was an immense undertaking, demanding both physical resilience and unwavering spiritual resolve. It was through collaborative effort and shared purpose that they transformed cold, unyielding stone into warm, contemplative sanctuaries of introspection and prayer. This labor-intensive creation was not solely a matter of practicality, it was a tangible embodiment of their pursuit of enlightenment and transcendence. As visitors wander through these ancient halls today, they can almost perceive the faint echoes of fervent chants and whispered prayers that once filled the air. Each reverberation a testament to a life dedicated to purity and introspection. The creation of these sanctuaries required a delicate weaving of spiritual fortitude with architectural creativity. The monks' impressive feats of engineering are vividly illustrated in places like Kiev, Pechersk, Lavra, where dimly lit tunnels and beautifully carved chapels cleverly conceal their utilitarian origins. These structures were adorned with intricate frescoes, silently proclaiming a deep longing to infuse heavenly beauty into their earthly dwellings. Art and architecture intertwined seamlessly, blending sacred geometry with functional design principles. Monks skillfully employed their understanding of natural elements to combat the pervasive darkness and dampness, ensuring their abodes were not only places of safety, but also spaces of sublime beauty and deep divine contemplation. The rhythmic routine of life underground harmonized intrinsically with the very essence of monastic devotion. Days unfolded in a sacred balance of prayer, work, and study, intricately choreographed with their subterranean surroundings. Despite the constant darkness, monks discovered a profound sense of freedom and simplicity, dedicating themselves to tasks that range from the meticulous copying of manuscripts to the cultivation of subterranean gardens. These gardens, ingeniously adapted to flourish with minimal light, provided both physical sustenance and fostered spiritual growth. A strong sense of communal life thrived within these confined spaces, deeply rooted in shared hardships and a quiet, unspoken camaraderie. Silence, cherished and intensified by the thick stone walls, offered them the peace necessary for contemplation and communion with the divine. It was a silent symphony, an unspoken dialogue carried through gestures and a shared understanding that transcended words. Every moment within these depths was imbued with a profound reverence for their holistic journey of faith. Central to monastic life were the underground churches, silent witnesses to both communal liturgies and solitary prayers. Within these cool, shadowy confines, time seemed to suspend its relentless march. Chants swirled in harmonious echoes, their cadences dancing with the flickering candlelight to animate the icons and frescoes that adorned the stone walls. The very act of descending into these underground spaces mirrored a symbolic withdrawal from earthly distractions, drawing the monks closer to the divine presence they sought. In these intimate, dimly lit passages, monks discovered a profound sense of communion, where their prayers mingled with the quiet stillness of the stone, creating a serene landscape for introspection and divine connection. It was here, amidst the delicate interplay of light and shadow, that the sacred met the mundane in a powerful dance of spiritual vitality. The subterranean life also embodied an ideal of stark austerity, a powerful testament to a devotion deliberately devoid of earthly indulgences. Within the confines of the stone walls, monks adhered to a lifestyle of sacrifice and simplicity, finding inner strength amidst humility. This conscious choice underscored their deep yearning for spiritual purity, a deliberate rebellion against temptation, and a resolute focus solely on divine pursuits. In bare stone cells, monks slept on straw mats, the stark simplicity serving as a constant, tangible reminder of their unwavering commitment to God. Their embrace of austerity was not simply a denial of comfort, it was a deliberate means to enrich their souls, forging a path towards spiritual transcendence. In these serene depths, monks lived with death as a constant, accepted companion. It was viewed not as an end, but as a sacred transition, celebrated through burials within the monastery's quiet embrace. These holy resting places, meticulously prepared, fortified their sense of belonging to both the community and a larger divine purpose. Burials served as powerful memento mori, reflections on mortality that deepened their devotion. Communal tombs bore silent witness to their shared lives, their remains cradled by the sacred earth as a final blessing. This ritual instilled in them an understanding that in both life and death, they formed an intrinsic part of a divine continuum. Subterranean monasteries also served as crucial refuges from persecution. Their stone corridors became clandestine fortresses during times of strife. Here, monks could continue their religious practices in secret, shielded from the hostile world above. This environment, though physically confining, paradoxically empowered them to resist spiritual suppression. The stone walls transformed into powerful symbols of endurance and faith, preserving legacies of resilience against external threats. History bears witness to the remarkable fortitude of these communities, whose steadfast resolve transformed rudimentary shelters into timeless bastions of survival. The art found within these monasteries, rich with symbolic meaning, conveyed deep truths understood only by the initiated. Frescoes and carvings depicted sacred stories and symbols, serving as a visual dialogue between the monks and the divine, and a powerful testament to their shared beliefs. Despite their physical isolation, these creative expressions connected them to a broader spiritual narrative, fostering a profound sense of connection with the divine realm. Modern archaeology continuously unveils these hidden sanctuaries, shedding invaluable light on the reclusive nature of monastic life during this period. Each discovery enriches our understanding of history, revealing previously unseen frescoes and relics that whisper of the monks' significant spiritual and cultural contributions. Technology plays a vital role, allowing for the exploration and study of these sacred spaces, challenging our perceptions and highlighting the complex interplay of faith and survival. As explorers delve into these sacred depths, they not only unravel the echoes of history, but also honor the enduring legacy woven into the very fabric of the earth. These age-old practices continue to resonate today, offering modern spiritual seekers a profound refuge from the noise and complexity of contemporary life. The monastic ideals of simplicity and contemplation serve as potent reminders of life's true purpose, inspiring moments of reflection and offering solace amidst the chaos. In our own search for balance and solitude, we too can aspire to reclaim that lost serenity, drawing wisdom from the enduring legacy of the monks and nurturing our own path back to peace, a quiet refuge rediscovered not beneath the earth, but deep within ourselves. In medieval Europe, salt was far more than a simple seasoning added at the table. It was a critical lifeline for communities, essential for ensuring survival through harsh, unforgiving winters in periods of scarcity. Poland's Wieliczka salt mine stands as a powerful testament to the vital importance of this resource. It evolved from a straightforward extraction site into a bustling center of commerce and a potent symbol of survival. Over centuries, these mines were transformed into vast, sprawling underground complexes, adorned with chapels, sculptures, and remarkable architectural feats carved directly from the surrounding stone and salt. Yet beneath their undeniable practical utility, these mines held an aura of mystique and shadow, stretching into depths where sunlight dared not venture. When danger threatened above, whether from wars, plagues, or other crises, entire communities found refuge within these subterranean labyrinths. The miners, already intimately familiar with this world beneath the surface, retreated with their families into the cool, dimly lit depths. Here, enveloped by the omnipresent scent of earth and salt, they discovered both safety and sustenance. The mines transformed into makeshift homes, with living spaces tucked away in alcoves and communal areas repurposed for shelter. Although living underground undoubtedly challenged the human spirit, the familiar surroundings and the profound sense of security provided by these mineral-laden walls offered a rare solace, a stark contrast to the chaos raging above. Chalk mines, meanwhile, provided a different kind of sanctuary. Primarily used for extracting building materials, these caverns also served as natural fortresses during times of crisis, particularly in southern England and parts of France. They offered a sturdy barricade against invaders and disease, hosting communities that braced themselves against external threats. During the early 19th century swing riots, for instance, locals sought hiding in these chalk tunnels, which stood as silent witnesses to humanity's struggles across centuries. Within these sanctuaries of white stone, life was a constant negotiation with the demands of survival. Families huddled around makeshift hearths, sharing scarce meals in the chill and echo of the passageways. The stark simplicity of these underground shelters stood in sharp contrast to the turmoil on the surface, carving their place in the history of resilience. Faith also carved its foothold beneath the earth. As communities moved into the mines, their religious practices followed, leading to the creation of intricate chapels within the salt and chalk caverns. The Chapel of St. Kinga in the Wieliczka salt mine, with its sculptures and altar pieces fashioned directly from the surrounding walls, remains one of the most extraordinary of these subterranean sanctuaries. Here, priests conducted services, their voices echoing through the vast chambers, while candles cast dancing shadows across the stone surfaces, imbuing the space with a sacred aura. These chapels became more than just places of refuge. They served as anchors for communities in shared belief, offering spiritual solace amidst the shadows. Life beneath the surface demanded a unique brand of ingenuity. Residents carved workshops and living quarters directly into the stone, crafting strategic designs that cleverly utilized natural formations for ventilation and access to fresh water. The transformation of these subterranean networks into habitable spaces was not merely a remarkable feat of engineering. It was a powerful testament to the resilience of human creativity. In these tight-knit communities, the rhythmic clatter of tools, the low murmurs of conversation, and the distant sound of dripping water formed the backdrop of daily life. Modest quarters were transformed into homes where families gathered for warmth and companionship. Navigating this unique acoustic environment required the heightened acuity of those attuned to both sound and sight, seamlessly blending necessity with innovation. In the dim world below, imagination took flight. Tales of lurking creatures and spirits became the narratives of survival, spun by those huddled together in the mine corridors. The darkness amplified stories of goblins and lost souls, giving voice to deep-seated fears and imparting moral lessons passed down through generations. Yet even as these myths emerged, very real threats loomed large. Structural collapses, flooding, and air quality issues made subterranean life inherently precarious, demanding a heightened sense of awareness among the inhabitants. They learned to listen intently to the creaks and rumbles of their rock shelters, perpetually aware of the thin line between safety and danger. The pressure of necessity forged communities bound together by common needs and fears. Living in the gloom fostered a strong sense of unity and interdependence, mirroring broader societal structures, but with an intensified sense of shared identity. Adversity sculpted unique social dynamics where cooperation and mutual support were paramount. These underground worlds flourished with a distinct cultural identity all their own, reflected in the carvings and artifacts that whisper of lives lived fiercely in shadow. Moving underground represented a profound psychological shift as much as a practical survival strategy. It symbolized a retreat, an embracing of darkness and solitude as a refuge from the moral and social chaos prevalent above. Yet paradoxically, within these depths, people found opportunities for introspection and renewal, contemplating life anew as they prepared for an eventual return to the light. Their defiance and ingenuity left behind enduring legacies recorded in stone carvings and artifacts, offering modern observers glimpses into remarkable adaptation and resourcefulness. Today, the rediscovery of these subterranean worlds sparks renewed fascination. Exploring these vast networks, astonishingly forged without modern technology, challenges our perceptions and reveals striking parallels with contemporary human resilience in the face of adversity. As historians and adventurers delve into these buried stories, they reshape our understanding of medieval innovators. This narrative bridge connects the past and present, inviting reflection on the power of community strength and individual creativity in navigating tomorrow's challenges. From the whispers of bygone lives come invaluable lessons in resilience, echoing the endurance and ingenuity innate to the human spirit. In the shadowy chronicles of medieval warfare, the art of undermining stands out as a risky yet exceptionally ingenious tactic. While armies clashed in the light of day, a more clandestine battle raged quietly beneath the Earth's surface. Resourceful siege engineers masterminded this form of warfare, where the primary weapon was not the sword or spear, but the humble shovel. With every laborious heave of soil and rock, tunnels crept stealthily beneath the foundations of mighty fortresses. Each inch gained represented a calculated risk. The objective was devastatingly simple: to cause parts of the defensive walls to collapse, leaving once impregnable fortresses vulnerable to assault. The engineers had to remain undetected, their presence a secret from ears straining on the surface for the telltale vibrations of imminent danger. These tunnels became narrow, claustrophobic theaters of war, where the anticipation was as thick as the damp air. Every creak of timber supports and every shift of soil could signal either impending doom or the brink of triumph. The primal fear of being buried alive was a constant companion to the miners. Yet they toiled on, their silent work demanding intense focus and nerves of steel. When successful, undermining dramatically shifted the balance of power, sometimes turning the tide of entire battles. This innovative tactic did not go unanswered. Defenders quickly devised new strategies, recognizing the necessity of thinking about defense not only above, but also below ground. Counter-mining emerged from this necessity, a tactic where defenders, lying prone on the cold earth, listened intently for signs of enemy activity. This acoustic game of cat and mouse employed simple techniques like placing shallow bowls of water to detect vibrations, early precursors to modern seismographs. Sometimes counter-mining efforts led to fierce, close-quarter skirmishes deep beneath the surface itself, where the tools of labor were quickly repurposed as weapons of war. The Siege of Chateau Gaillard stands as a stark and vivid illustration of these subterranean battles. Proudly built on the Seine River by Richard the Lionheart, its seemingly impregnable appearance was a powerful statement of medieval military might. Yet in 1204, the fortress faced the cunning strategic approach of King Philip II of France. His forces, instead of launching a frontal assault on the seemingly unbeatable main keep, targeted the auxiliary sections, digging with meticulous precision and unwavering intent. As the defenders frantically dug their own tunnels in response, a hidden conflict unfolded beneath the earth. But the combined efforts of the French miners and the overwhelming pressure exerted on the surface ultimately broke the defenders' will, demonstrating that even the most formidable walls could crumble with the right manipulation of earth and stone. The impact of medieval siege conflict extended beyond the physical realm. It was profoundly psychological, an evolving dance of strategy that demanded constant innovation from both sides. Above ground, the air was filled with the chaos of trebuchets and battering rams, while below, an equally complex game of chess unfolded in utter darkness. This two-tiered battlefield necessitated a new kind of militaristic vision. Engineers developed intricate plans for intersecting tunnels designed to confuse and outwit their enemies, while castles reinforced their walls and dug deeper moats in anticipation of these lurking threats. Yet, despite the defenders' countermeasures, each successful undermining attack inspired attackers to develop fresh methods for breaching defenses. In response, siege engineers rose to prominence, earning a level of respect typically reserved for those who could harness nature itself as an ally. These pioneers, blending hands-on practicality with intellectual foresight, fundamentally redefined siege warfare. They devised strategies where cunning and careful calculation held greater weight than sheer brute force, giving rise to new terminologies like sap and trench. Their specialized expertise was crucial to an army's success, and their legacies of innovation continued to shape military thought and fortification designs well beyond the medieval era. Echoes of these subterranean battles permeated the cultural fabric of the time. The whispers of tunnels hidden beneath idyllic villages and towering fortresses invoked both mystery and fear. Inspiring tales shared in the flickering light of fires. Stories of restless spirits haunting these buried passageways or entire castles swallowed by the earth entered the realm of myth and folklore. These narratives captured societal anxieties, elevating the humble miner's craft to a saga of courage and ingenuity. Yet within this rich tapestry of history, it is the miners themselves who often remain in the shadows. Recruited for their intimate knowledge of the earth, they navigated through darkness, their perilous work often going unsung. With every swing of a pickaxe, they carried the fate of their comrades fighting above. Despite their vital role in determining the outcome of sieges, their names were frequently left unrecorded. leaving only the engineered scars they etched into the terrain as silent markers of their contributions. But failure was as much a potential outcome as success. The ever-present danger of tunnel collapse loomed constantly, a stark reminder to all involved of the thin line separating triumph from disaster. Entire passages could become tombs in mere moments. Yet these tragic events pushed strategists to recalibrate their plans and innovate further, ensuring that future engineering efforts integrated lessons learned under the most dire circumstances. The legacy of these tunnel diggers transcended the realm of warfare, influencing practices in mining, architecture, and urban planning. The techniques born out of siege necessity found unexpected applications in civilian life, illustrating the complex and multifaceted relationship medieval society had with the earth beneath them. These hidden passages not only reshaped physical landscapes, but also extended into metaphor, becoming symbolic of exploration and discovery. The genius of these engineers, often obscured by the passage of time, remains evident, reflecting the remarkable resilience of those who dared to delve below, challenging both their human adversaries and the very earth itself. The Middle Ages was an era where death was not merely a grim possibility, it was a constant, undeniable companion. Beneath the visible surface of medieval life, an unceasing, somber dance of survival and demise unfolded in streets choked with filth, where rats scurried freely and lice found homes on crowded human bodies. Hygiene was a distant and unattainable dream, creating fertile ground for the devastating scourge of the Black Death that swept across Europe in the late 1340s. This plague was not simply a disease, it was a terrifying harbinger of chaos that shattered the illusion of prosperity and left nearly half of Europe's population lifeless. Those who managed to survive were thrust into a somber and irrevocably altered reality, where living meant confronting a landscape profoundly reshaped by the relentless hand of death. The immediate horror of the disease was palpable, but the true crisis emerged in its aftermath. As bodies piled higher and higher, traditional burial customs faltered under the sheer weight of numbers. Overwhelmed communities resorted to mass graves or plague pits as pragmatic, albeit grim, solutions to a devastating dilemma. These deep trenches, often hastily dug and inadequately marked, served as somber reminders of mortality's indiscriminate reach, forcing entire quarters of towns to live with the unsettling silent presence of subterranean neighbors. In Paris, the echoes of death found a chilling voice beneath the earth. The city, iconic for its romantic allure in modern times, bore witness to a much darker reality during the 18th century. Cemeteries like Cimetière des Innocents became grotesquely overcrowded, their overflowing contents threatening the living with the specter of disease. In response, officials turned to the long-forgotten labyrinths of ancient stone quarries hidden deep beneath the bustling city. These extensive underground networks were transformed into a sprawling ossuary, a veritable city of bones, where the remains of nearly 6 million souls found their final resting place. It became an eerie yet strangely captivating realm, where bones were not simply interred but were artistically arranged, creating a spectral, unsettling gallery of the human condition. Navigating this underground world today, visitors find themselves enveloped in a narrative far removed from the vibrant, bustling life above. Here, art and anatomy coalesce in an unsettling yet undeniably fascinating ode to the impermanence of life. For medieval Parisians, this eerie, monumental undertaking captured the very essence of their struggle against mortality, a desperate attempt to impose order upon chaos and provide a measure of ritualistic solace. It stands as a powerful testament to their ingenuity and their profound acceptance of life's inherent frailty, silently whispering stories of past loves and lost dreams beneath the streets of the living. Meanwhile, in the heart of Sicily, the Capuchin crypts of Palermo offer a hauntingly intimate engagement with humanity's relationship with death. Located beneath a simple monastery, these crypts present a macabre spectacle to behold. Over 8,000 mummified bodies are displayed, each serving as a poignant testament to individual mortality and the societal values of the time. Initially a resting place exclusively for Capuchin monks, the crypt soon opened to the nobility, becoming a post-mortem tableau where death was both a final farewell and a grand display. Clad in the finest attire, These figures line the walls, immortalized in a state of posed serenity. The Capuchin monks were masters of the art of preservation, a skill honed not merely for the sake of eternity, but as an expression of dignity. Mummification was refined into an art form, utilizing terracotta pipes and vinegar to lend the bodies a hauntingly lifelike permanence. Such displays blurred the boundary between the living and the departed, embedding the dead within the communal fabric they had once animated. For those who wander through these catacombs today, the experience is a profound encounter with history, philosophy, and faith, a stark reminder of life's fleeting nature, viewed through the lens of a culture that deeply revered both the corporal and the eternal. Bones, whether perceived as morbid or mesmerizing to our modern sensibilities, held profound cultural significance for medieval societies. Amidst the ever-present specter of death from wars, disease, and famine, they symbolized both the brevity of life and served as a call to live virtuously. Far from being an obsession with doom and despair, they functioned as powerful memento mori, tangible reminders to cherish life and remain steadfast in faith, despite life's inherent transience. Ossuaries became more than merely repositories for the deceased. They were philosophical statements etched in bone and stone. For the clergy and the affluent, aligning oneself with these symbols represented an extension of their lifelong dedication to piety beyond the boundary of death. This deeply ingrained engagement with mortality was not confined to Western Europe. Cultures worldwide embrace similar iconography to prompt reflection on life's continuity beyond the grave. Each skull and every bone in these repositories is not merely an endpoint, but a continuation, a gentle nudge from history, urging us to embrace vitality even as we acknowledge its inevitable conclusion. Such was the medieval way, a time where life and death were intricately entwined in a delicate dance, leaving behind a legacy that still whispers beneath our feet, hidden in shadows, patiently waiting to be heard. Imagine medieval Europe, where its inhabitants lived at the mercy of a notoriously capricious climate, particularly in the northern regions, known for their relentlessly harsh winters and unpredictable storms. The need for reliable storage was as critically important as any defensive fortification. To withstand these challenging conditions, merchants and city planners took the logical and practical step of moving downwards, creating extensive underground vaults to safeguard precious grain, ale, and other essential goods. These subterranean spaces provided a natural and effective shield against severe frosts that could penetrate several feet deep into the earth, as well as against unpredictable heat waves, ensuring a stable environment that protected against spoilage. It was far more than merely practical. It was a fundamental matter of survival. These storage facilities were remarkable feats of medieval engineering, constructed with the specific purpose of resisting the deep penetration of frost. The stone walls and arched ceilings, often made from materials sourced locally from nearby hills or recycled from older structures, efficiently housed these commodities. Ingenious ventilation systems were incorporated to prevent dampness, demonstrating the medieval people's considerable knack for innovation. Above ground, life flowed in tune with these invisible rhythms as goods moved with the changing seasons through these unseen commercial arteries. In Edinburgh, the ancient city thrived atop layers of its own rich history. The crowded, intricate maze of the Old Town, perched dramatically on rocky escarpments, compelled its citizens to value the spaces below ground as much as those above. Beneath its famous South Bridge, a network of vaulted chambers constructed in 1788 served as prime storage for a variety of merchants and craftsmen, including cobblers. These damp, stone-walled spaces became absolutely essential to Edinburgh's bustling economy, providing the city with stable environments critical amidst chilling winters. As time passed, however, these vaults fell into neglect, their empty spaces becoming entwined with local urban myths and dark whispered tales. Abandoned by legitimate commerce, they later became havens for the city's less savory elements. Today, these vaults stand rediscovered, offering a fascinating underground perspective into the dynamic life and economic practices of the past, their silence echoing with the whispers of Edinburgh's long-forgotten stories. In the City of Light, Paris, underground passageways mirrored the vibrancy of life occurring atop the cobblestones. The heart of France flourished as a major medieval trade center, necessitating extensive storerooms, hidden away from prying eyes and opportunistic hands. Beneath its streets sprawled a vast network of cellars where merchants securely stashed wine, grain, spices, and other valuable trade goods. Their vaults accessible only through secretive doorways and steep, winding staircases. Parisian wines, renowned then as they are today, aged to perfection in these cool, stable underground conditions, making these spaces indispensable to both local consumption and export markets. Engaging in trade beneath the streets, wine merchants mingled freely with commoners and nobles alike, a unique blend of rank and station meeting under the ancient stone arches. Today, the remnants of these vaults offer a mysterious glimpse into the bustling, strategic heart of medieval Paris, showcasing an enduring spirit of business acumen and adaptability. Across Europe, organized trade demanded significant ingenuity. With the growth of urban centers and increasing populations, these underground markets flourished beneath cities. In regions where defense was a primary concern, these spaces also served a dual purpose as refuges during times of conflict, equipped with reinforced doors and thick walls to protect both people and valuable goods. Within these sheltered markets, the pulse of life continued, remarkably unfazed by the turmoil on the surface. Craftsmen peddled their wares, bakers offered their daily bread, and traders shared tales from far-off lands. They were more than just storage solutions. They were vibrant centers of community resilience and continuity, central to the rhythm of medieval urban life. Guilds of that era, powerful institutions that regulated trade and ensured craft quality, often conducted their operations from these subterranean chambers. Hidden beneath cities like London and Bruges, guild meetings took place covertly in dimly lit vaults where significant economic decisions were made. These chambers were hives of intense debate and innovation, arenas where pricing strategies, production techniques, and political maneuvers collided. The privacy they afforded fostered a strong sense of shared purpose, allowing guilds to safely transmit trade secrets to apprentices or negotiate bargains with distant allies. The echoing walls bore silent witness to these strategic decisions that shaped futures, and their legacy subtly lingers in today's labor structures. Vienna, strategically located at the crossroads of major European trade routes, elegantly transformed its underground spaces into a veritable city beneath a city. Renowned for its thriving wine trade, Vienna's extensive network of cellars was absolutely crucial for the aging and selling of its wines. Here, among rows of oak casks, merchants struck deals, and friendships flourished, all enhanced by the perfect microclimate for wine maturation. These cellars were not just economic hubs, but also significant cultural centers, hosting festivals and gatherings that seamlessly intertwined commerce with celebration. They protected valuable stock, ensuring a steady supply despite political upheaval or harsh winters, helping to cement Vienna's status as a premier wine capital. Today, many of these historic cellars have been repurposed into popular venues, their spaces echoing with the laughter of patrons, much as they did centuries ago. Throughout time, underground markets evolved in parallel with advancements in construction techniques and changing urban needs. Initial simple cellars gradually transformed into interconnected vaults and hidden theaters, their functions redefined to suit the growing demands of the cities above. Their transformation mirrored changing societal values, keeping commerce at their core while occasionally embracing arts and even opulence. As modern cities continue to rise and expand, these historical underground spaces have often faded from everyday view, but their influence persists, a testament to medieval innovation, now inspiring newer generations to adapt and thrive in the spaces that lie beneath us. The blend of cultures in these markets extended beyond Europe. Across different civilizations, such as those in the Levant, underground commerce served as a vital meeting point for traders along ancient routes, brimming with an exchange of goods, ideas, and cultural influences. These markets were more than merely economic hubs. They were vibrant cultural melting pots, precursors to contemporary globalization. Even now, rediscovered vaults continue to surprise historians with the wealth of insights they offer into medieval life. These buried secrets whisper tales of adaptation, resilience, and the daily grind of a long-vanished era, helping to draw connections between the past and the present. As we gaze beneath our modern streets, the indomitable spirit of those who once thrived there continues to inspire, confirming that history's essence resides not just in the skies above, but also deep within the world's shadows. In the shadowy depths beneath medieval castles, dungeons evolved to become chilling embodiments of society's punitive instincts. What began as simple holding cells gradually transformed into elaborate prisons of suffering and fear, mirroring humanity's darker impulses. The grim echoes within these stone chambers captured the whispers of despair as prisoners, ranging from rebellious wartime captives to political dissidents, languished in isolation, removed from view and swiftly forgotten. These dungeons were more than just physical traps. They were potent symbols of an era's appetite for power and control, exerted by those safely distanced above. They represented a form of physical and societal burial, where outcasts were hidden away, sunk beneath the very foundations of the grandeur above. These cold, damp cells tell tales of a brutal past, their narrow halls resonating with the languishing cries of souls removed from the light, reflecting society's obsession with exclusion. Life inside a dungeon was characterized by crushing monotony and an unrelenting struggle for survival. Prisoners contended with the constant, unwelcome company of disease-ridden vermin, and their meals were scarce and often rancid. The physical conditions of incarceration varied. While nobles might endure slightly better circumstances, commoners suffered in bare stone cells amidst utter squalor. Denied sunlight and human contact, time blurred into a monotonous assault on hope and sanity. Stories persist of clandestine alliances forming amidst the darkness, inmates sharing meager food, carving marks into the walls, or attempting desperate escapes with makeshift tools. In these bleak circumstances, surprising acts of humanity sometimes emerged. A nobleman bribing guards to help a fellow prisoner, or a warden secretly smuggling messages of hope. Medieval justice also embraced torture with a grim determination to maintain order and extract confessions. Devices like the rack and thumb screws were not merely tools for information. They were instruments designed to command fear and enforce subjugation. The cells echoed with pitiful screams, while scorched branding irons left indelible marks that served as confessions without words. Yet these practices, intended to assert absolute control, often resulted in dubious confessions, rendering the supposed truths extracted questionable at best. Among Europe's grim fortresses, certain castles became infamous for the notoriety of their dungeons. The Tower of London, steeped in tales of betrayal and unrest, looms large in history for its chilling cells that have confined countless souls. Beneath its thick walls, it served as a stage where political dramas unfolded in iron chains. Elsewhere, Leiria Castle bore witness to harrowing stories associated with its oubliette, a covert pit of despair where prisoners were left to vanish from the world above. Yet time possesses a peculiar way of concealing its darkest corners. And so, many of these grim places were eventually lost to memory, sinking into oblivion beneath the cities of today. Modern archaeologists occasionally unearth these somber relics, finding graffiti etched by desperate hands or discovering bones cradled in silent corners. In places like Carcassonne, tourists now walk the halls once burdened by chains, but the melancholy whispers of those confined still linger, undiminished by the click of tourist cameras. And in these dire spaces, tales of defiance and cunning emerged. Escapes that read like miracles, bright flickers of hope in the dark tapestry. John Gerard's incredible escape from the Tower of London, famously aided by secret messages etched in orange juice ink, is one such stirring tale, showcasing the surprising potential of human ingenuity. Similarly, Casanova's daring breakout from Venice's notorious Leeds speaks to both chance and boldness, weaving him into legend alongside other notable escapes. Within these narratives of survival, faith often played a critical role. Religious prisoners frequently faced dark depths as the inquisitors of their time punished allegiance to unorthodox beliefs with chains and isolation. Figures like Jan Hus and Joan of Arc embody this tragic intersection of belief and persecution. Their imprisonments resonate throughout history, painting their struggles in stark, earnest tones that both inspire and evoke mourning. While grappling with their physical hardships, prisoners also contended with profound psychological trials, an agonizing struggle to retain sanity amidst overwhelming despair. Days dissolved into a hazy blur without the guiding arc of the sun above. Identities became blurred by the relentless solitude, and the oppressive silence carried the weight of inexorable fear. Some clung to mental toeholds, perhaps fashioning narratives or etching patterns onto the walls. Small comforts against a reality indifferent to such musings. Escape might remain an unattainable dream, but the fight to maintain a sense of self was a triumph in its own right. Dark legends seeped into the very stone walls of these dungeons, like the damp air, growing into chilling folklore. Tales of restless spirits and disembodied cries gave shape to the nightmares that whispered just beyond the reach of the firelight. Chillingham Castle's spectral figures and Chillingham's Blue Boy haunted prisoners and listeners alike, weaving threads of fear and fascination into mythic enclosures where both enlightenment and terror held sway. Centuries may separate us from these eerie prisons, yet their legacy lingers, a looming reminder of humanity's capacity for both grim machinery and unexpected compassion. The dungeon's walls, once confining both body and soul, now invite reflection on the lessons we inherit, casting long cautionary shadows over our understanding of justice and mercy. As they echo through the annals of history, these dungeon stories remind us of our shared vulnerability, intoning softly that the shadows cast by ancient stones can still touch the present. Yet diplomacy often involved deception. Queens mastered subtle masquerade, their smiles as strategic as swords, guiding court affairs from the shadows. This quiet influence, hidden behind veils of courtesy, underscored the queen's ability to manage political currents, influence the outcomes of conflicts, and shape history with unmatched skill. The pervasive influence of queens, however, placed them in vulnerable positions. Their power was constantly scrutinized, and societal norms threatened to undermine them at every misstep. Accusations of witchcraft or treason became deadly when their authority challenged patriarchal expectations. Empress Matilda of England, in her pursuit of the throne, fiercely contended with societal prejudice. Her ambitions portrayed her as both a formidable leader and a threat to the social order. Queens also faced danger from within their courts. Joan of Navarre's forced imprisonment by her stepson Henry III under dubious charges of witchcraft illustrates how easily a queen's influence could be suppressed by jealousy and fear. Such narratives reveal the precarious balance upon which queens maintained their power amidst courtly whispers. Defiance was a strong note in the reigns of some queens. Figures like Isabella of France, known as the She-Wolf, dared to challenge norms, orchestrating the overthrow of her husband Edward II of England in a bold coup. Her defiance questioned both authority and feminine submission, paving new paths for future women. Queens like Isabella embodied rebellion not merely as resistance, but as a catalyst for change, disrupting societal structures and preparing the ground for transformation. Beyond political strongholds, queens enriched their realms with cultural vibrancy. They were patrons of art, culture, and spirituality, leaving lasting marks that extended beyond battlefields. Eleanor of Aquitaine's patronage of troubadours and poets fostered the culture of courtly love. Through architecture and religious initiatives, queens shaped spiritual landscapes, as seen in Blanche of Castile's association with the Sainte-Chapelle, blending the spiritual with the temporal. Still, many queens faded from the dominant historical accounts, overshadowed by kings. Their whispers echo through time, urging us to re-examine historical narratives with fresh eyes, to rediscover their influence in shaping society's very course. The queens of old, often forgotten but unyielding, continue to inspire narratives, encouraging modern storytellers to bring their buried legacies into the light, strengthening the connection between past and present. In the records of medieval Europe, stories often tell of women who defied societal expectations, taking up arms to protect their homes or seek adventure in worlds typically reserved for men. These tales blend truth and legend, revealing celebrated heroines and unnamed figures whose courage endures in songs and myths. Some women transform themselves into warriors, wearing armor and disguising themselves as men. Through clandestine training, they mastered combat, challenging the rigid gender norms of their time. One such figure is Jeanne de Clisson, known as the Lioness of Brittany. Following her husband's execution, she became a notorious pirate, launching daring attacks on French ships. Her fierceness earned her both fear and admiration, highlighting the lengths to which women would go for justice or freedom. These stories reveal a complex tapestry of persistent bravery as women stood alongside men on battlefields across medieval Europe. While some women ventured far from home, others became defenders of their castles during sieges. When men were absent or had fallen, it often fell to women to organize defenses and lead their communities to survival. Their unexpected leadership, celebrated in folklore and ballads, defied gender expectations. One renowned defender was Margaret of Beverley, who assisted in the defense of Jerusalem during the 1187 siege. Her account, recorded by her brother, reveals the critical roles women played in such perilous times. Pilgrimages in medieval times were more than spiritual journeys. They were dangerous adventures offering women a degree of agency. Often disguised as men for safety, these journeys allowed them experiences outside societal constraints. Such pilgrimages were symbolic battlegrounds where women challenged gender restrictions and defended themselves against real threats. Christine of Marquiat, inspired by visions, fled an arranged marriage for a life of asceticism. Her story illustrates the intersection of faith and disguise. Family was the core of medieval society, with women as its foundation. When threats arose, women often fought to defend their kin and clan. Such fierce protectiveness drove ordinary women to perform extraordinary acts of bravery, transcending time. Consider Black Agnes, Countess of Dunbar, who famously defended her castle from an English siege in 1338. Her defiant actions, such as dusting off arrows and taunting besiegers, symbolized tactical prowess and leadership. Her story of resistance showcases women's significant roles in familial and feudal structures. Not all heroines are named in historical records. Many women, shrouded in anonymity, played crucial roles in pivotal battles. Whether fighting alongside brothers or husbands or standing alone, these warriors remain unsung, their deeds traced through fragmented records. These anonymous fighters represent societal defiance, existing as whispers passed down through generations. Their legacy of courage, unconfined by gender or class, survives in collective memory. For women who fought, returning to life after conflict meant reconciling their warrior spirit with societal norms. This transition from the battlefield to the domestic realm was challenging. Some women adapted their martial skills to leadership roles, becoming educators and symbols of resistance. The respect and authority earned in battle could translate into community empowerment. Their stories show the lasting impact of women warriors who balanced martial prowess with everyday life. Even amidst the male-dominated narrative, tombs and monuments mark the legacy of female warriors. These stones, carved with care, tell of women's courage and impact, standing as testaments to their recognition. The tomb of Nicola de la Haye celebrates her defense of Lincoln Castle, offering clues to her story. While rare, such monuments reflect how certain women overcame societal denial, their legacies enduring in stone, if not in writing. For medieval women, disguise served both as a means of survival and self-discovery. Living double lives on battlefields or pilgrimages offered insights that transcended social constraints. Disguise empowered these women to challenge traditional gender roles, opening opportunities denied them as women. While they lived with the fear of exposure, these experiences deepened their understanding of both genders. Their journeys symbolized self-reclamation and empowerment in a patriarchal world. The limited chronicles of women warriors stem from societal structures that determined whose stories were deemed worthy of recording. This lack of accounts reflects a broader historical silence regarding women's contributions. To uncover these stories, historians use personal letters and fragmented records to piece together narratives. Each fragment intensifies the quest to illuminate the legacy of warrior women, urging us to reinsert their courage into history. The legacy of these medieval women extends into modern narratives, their stories echoing in literature and popular culture as symbols of resistance. They remind us of the age-old pursuit of justice and equality. With bravery transcending time, the warrior woman continues to inspire storytellers, bridging the medieval past and present-day heroism. Honoring their stories ensures that the spirit of medieval women warriors shapes both present and future narratives, reaffirming their influence on the story of human courage. In medieval Europe, faith was both a luminous guide and a dangerous shadow, with women navigating a narrow path between sanctity and heresy. The sacred and the sinister were intertwined, and the path to sainthood or damnation often depended on the shifting tides of public opinion. For a woman, demonstrating devotion could open doors to veneration, as in the case of Saint Catherine of Siena, renowned for her divine visions. Yet the same fervor that could elevate one to sainthood could also bring suspicion and fear, particularly in a society where patriarchal control largely defined a woman's worth. Courts and village squares became stages for judgment, where the distinction between saint and heretic was as thin and fragile as a candle's flickering flame. The very mysticism that elevated Joan of Arc to a divine warrior also led to her fiery demise. A simple peasant girl, she rose to command armies and influence the course of nations through sheer force of belief. Clothed not in expected silks but in a knight's armor, she defied societal norms and rallied the French against English invaders. Yet the very voices praised for guiding her crusade led to her trial. As the same town that admired her courage branded her a heretic, her execution by fire transformed her story into a cautionary tale of how a saint could become a martyr through the shifting sands of power. Not every woman chose the battlefield to challenge societal constraints. Marjorie Kempe, in her journey, found space for self-expression through tears, chronicling her life in what is considered the first autobiography written in English. From her prosperous beginnings in King's Lynn, she embarked on pilgrimages across Europe. Driven by divine visions and incessant weeping, her story, full of passion and intensity, was scrutinized by the Church, which struggled to categorize her fervor as either blessedness or madness. In dark times, the fear of witchcraft loomed large over women's lives. When night fell in Europe, the terror of witch hunts began anew. Women, particularly healers and midwives, found themselves targets of suspicion. Their knowledge of herbs and remedies was twisted into tales of sorcery. The infamous Malleus Maleficarum portrayed women as inherently weak and susceptible to devilish influence, setting the stage for brutal inquiries that blurred the lines between piety and prejudice. Women's healing arts were paradoxical, existing in a tense space between reverence and accusation. Herb gardens became sites of both medical miracles and alleged malevolence. Noble women and village midwives nurtured communities through their botanical expertise. Yet this same knowledge could provoke accusations of witchcraft. Surviving such a stigmatization required both skill and resilience. In faith's grand scheme, sainthood offered a complex alternative role for medieval women. Those like Saint Clare of Assisi were immortalized in hagiographies. Yet countless others remained hidden behind the cloak of anonymity. Their contributions continue to resonate through whispered family stories and cherished relics, quietly asserting their holiness and humanity. Amidst this backdrop, the Church served as both a spiritual sanctuary and an authoritarian force. Heretical movements provided alternative paths for women seeking agency beyond orthodox limitations. The Cathars and Lollards offered spiritual comfort to those dissatisfied with papal decrees, but the risks were immense. The boundaries of heresy were drawn by those in power, creating perilous consequences for those who dared to cross them. Hints of rebellion simmered not only in cloisters and courts, but in the hearts of queens and commoners alike. Eleanor of Aquitaine exercised her autonomy across nations, manipulating political landscapes with the skill of a seasoned kingmaker. Isabella of France orchestrated coups, challenging the monarchy's patriarchal ideals with the same cunning as any duke or baron. Hidden rebellions told softer tales of resistance. Medieval women often expressed subtle acts of defiance through domesticity and family ties. Secretly passing down knowledge from generation to generation, they built networks of resistance within the spaces society permitted them. These whispers of dissent quietly fostered models of solidarity that persisted beneath the radar of history's grand narratives. The legacy of medieval women endures, spanning the chasm of years to impart lessons still relevant today. As their stories invite reinterpretation, we find renewed relevance in their struggles and triumphs, discovering the meaning of gender, faith, and rebellion. Once upon a time, Joan of Arc emerges not just as a divine guide, but as a feminist symbol. The haunting specters of witch trials serve as stark reminders of unchecked hysteria. By exploring these stories, a new fable woven in shadow and light, we see through the cracks in their tales the enduring resilience and humanity that insisted on leaving a mark upon the very heart of history. In the medieval world, marriage was seldom the subject of sweeping romantic tales, It was a transaction, a move on a chessboard where the stakes were wealth, alliances, and power. The nobility used marriage not for love, but as a means to forge powerful connections or avoid conflict. For women, it marked a transition from being under their father's authority to that of their husbands, becoming part of a contract rooted in economic considerations. A dowry, whether consisting of land, livestock, or coins, was more than a gift. It was a measure of a family's fortune and a bargaining chip in the social landscape shaped by the aristocracy. Despite the seemingly cold nature of these unions, marriage in medieval society was layered with nuance. Young brides, sometimes little more than children, were often silent witnesses to decisions made in the shadowy corridors of power. Yet while love was uncommon, it was not entirely absent. Christian doctrine linked marriage to morality and procreation, which allowed for the development of genuine affection within these tightly bound relationships. But make no mistake, love was secondary when medieval hierarchies dictated strategy over sentimentality. The dowry served as both a familial declaration of wealth and an insurance policy for daughters in case of widowhood or family discord. Though typically associated with the nobility, the practice permeated all classes, from the bustling streets of merchants to the modest homes of peasants. While dowries underscored societal control over women, they also offered a rare glimmer of leverage. Through cunning and negotiation, women navigated this patriarchal system to safeguard their futures and subtly influence their surroundings. In the shadows of feudal obligations, love sometimes flickered like a candle in the wind. Despite being viewed with suspicion, troubadours sang of star-crossed lovers, their words slipping into the hearts of those caught in marriages arranged for profit, not passion. These ballads, often featuring noble women and daring knights, painted a complex world where emotional connection could be found away from prying eyes. Love, even when relegated to whispered stories, demonstrated resilience against the harshness of arranged unions. Within this context, courtly love added another layer, offering women a coded language of affection woven through literature and art. Though rarely leading to actual relationships, it was a channel for expressing emotion, a quiet rebellion against the rigid grip of societal norms. Some women embraced the ideals of courtly love, risking scorn and scandal for a taste of freedom in a world that dictated the paths of their hearts as much as their feet. Yet not all battles were fought in bedrooms. Some unfolded on the judicial stage. Women perceived as passive inheritors proved formidable litigants when property and dowries needed defense. The courts, realms dominated by men, became arenas where women, like the determined Matilda de Braus, asserted their agency. They navigated the complex legal codes to secure their children's and their own livelihoods, mastering the law's intricacies to challenge a system stacked against them. Divorce and annulments presented a curious contradiction within this sacred institution governed by the Catholic Church. Dissolving marital bonds required skillful navigation through the dense thicket of scripture and ecclesiastical approval. Annulments were not admissions of failed companionship, but loopholes sought due to consanguinity or pre-existing vows. These instances reflected an autonomy veiled by societal expectations, particularly poignant for women trapped in marriages that valued political alliances over personal harmony. Inheritance laws, which varied and were complex across regions, placed women in a perpetual struggle between duty and desire. With sons favored under primogeniture, daughters found themselves at the mercy of familial goodwill or their own legal acumen. However, some, like the shrewd Joan of Kent, demonstrated that wit and tenacity could redefine their roles. As heiresses, they played pivotal roles in shaping family fortunes and societal perceptions, illustrating a profound irony in the medieval tapestry of power. It is crucial to understand that women of this era, from the esteemed Eleanor of Aquitaine to everyday noblewomen, operated within their constraints to exercise agency and influence. Hidden behind veils and closed doors, they wielded considerable sway over domestic and even political realms. Diplomatic by necessity, they sometimes navigated alliances with the finesse of seasoned envoys, challenging preconceived notions of passive subservience. Widows, too, occupied a paradoxical position of newfound autonomy and persistent challenge. Freed from a husband's immediate authority but constrained by societal expectations, they often stood firm against claims on their estates or threats to their children's inheritances. As silent warriors like Aliénor de la Motte maneuvered through political and legal challenges, they demonstrated resilience, countering the notion of passive female existence with bold reclamation of power. As the sparks from court battles and marriage negotiations settled, a different arena, the marriage market stood starkly as a microcosm of societal dynamics. Here, young women were treated as commodities, their value tied to lineage, beauty, and the economic potential encapsulated in their dowries. In these arenas, women were not mere pawns but active players, using marriage, one of the few avenues for social advancement, as a means to navigate the complexities of medieval hierarchy. Through the whispered lullabies of love, the forceful arguments in courtrooms, and the nuanced management of households, women of medieval Europe defied time's erosion to leave their indelible marks on history. Their courage and cunning resonate even today, a testament to the enduring spirit bound by tradition and ambition. In the medieval landscape, where the sounds of knights and courtly dramas dominated written records, the true pulse of life was often carried in the words spoken at family hearths and village gatherings. Women, primarily through oral tradition, created an intricate tapestry of memory, skillfully weaving history into songs, stories, and whispers shared by flickering firesides. Even though they were often barred from formal education, they shaped communities with a storytelling ability that, while invisible on parchment, echoed powerfully through generations. In ordinary conversations and tales shared during meals, women embedded the chronicles of their existence and those who came before them. They recounted both everyday events and extraordinary stories, serving as living archives of ancestral heroes, local legends, and invaluable life lessons. Each narrative they told, each song they sang, transformed the very air into a repository of genealogical and cultural wisdom. In an era where the chaos of war, disease, and social upheaval threatened stability, these verbal legacies became lifelines, binding the fabric of faith and fate with each retelling. As guardians of language, women were the first educators, guiding children through the diverse sounds of regional dialects and idioms. Without the formal setting of a classroom, they transformed kitchens, fields, and hearths into immersive linguistic environments, imprinting words filled with cultural significance and identity. Songs and rhymes echoed the musicality of speech, seamlessly connecting generations through common vernacular. Moreover, these rhythmic tools served not merely for communication, but as vessels of resistance, preserving the richness of language and cultures overshadowed by conquest and Latinized authority. Within the intricate networks of family, women served as the keepers of lineage and inheritance. They remembered the births, marriages, and deaths that outlined the genealogy of medieval society, a task crucial for survival in a landscape where such knowledge could determine prosperity or ruin. Through oral records, they narrated the sagas of ancestors marked by bravery and folly, ensuring that every child grew up with an awareness of their roots, fortified by a powerful sense of familial honor and place in the broader societal tapestry. Then there were the songs, lullabies sung in the gentle darkness, and work songs that marked the rhythm of daily labor. These melodies wove together life's joys, sorrows, and acts of resistance, serving as powerful reminders of shared experience and subtle defiance. Women used these lyrical tools to transmit values and express criticisms of their world. Beneath their tunes lay layers of meaning, crafting anthems of cultural assertion amidst external oppression, where oral traditions concealed defiant hearts. Daily, women performed rituals that seemed simple at first glance, but were laden with rich cultural importance. The acts of preparing meals or managing the household economy concealed traditions passed down through countless generations. From their hands, bread and cloth became stories of innovation and resilience, practical and sacred truths braided into routine. These rituals synchronized communities, maintained identity through celebration and mourning, and preserved the rhythm of sacred observances. In addition to domestic duties, women were healers tasked with sustaining life through knowledge passed down outside the bounds of formal medicine. They crafted potent remedies from herbs and plants, knowledge gained through endless trials and motherly care. Their healing arts extended into midwifery, a role balancing tradition and necessity, providing care that was both feared and revered. With chance and care, they navigated the mysteries of health, embodying wisdom that spanned generations, protected only by shared and whispered knowledge. Women were also the unseen architects of medieval society, creating economies within their homes that ran parallel to the societal structures dominated by men. Their labor and barter systems ensured survival and stability, fostering resilience that chroniclers rarely noted. They taught community values through stories and everyday practices, binding young minds to the principles cherished by both hearth and altar. Their influence, though unrecorded by official accounts, was designed to withstand the tumultuous currents of their time. In artistic endeavors, women left their own unique chronicles, vibrant symbols stitched into cloths or shaped from clay. Each crafted item bore witness to personal identity, intertwined with collective memory, patterns and textures, demanding attention even when words were limited. Through these crafts, women communicated aspects of their reality unnoticed by history's grand narratives, but quietly enduring as testaments of their interpretation of the world around them. While names may be absent from history, the echo of these women reverberates through spiritual and cultural realms. As organizers of household spirituality or members of guilds, they enriched faith's narrative with practices deeply rooted in personal worship and oral tradition. Their participation shaped sacred life, infusing it with their nuanced beliefs and communal aspirations. Their spiritual roles preserved a subtler, resilient faith, a testament to their enduring, indomitable influence. Today, their legacy survives not only in forgotten volumes of history, but in the whispers caught between the pages we now read. It is in the songs and traditions that echo down through time, standing as vibrant specters of a more human narrative unseen by the chronicling eye. Through these stories and songs, medieval women, once whispering their tales to their kin, ensured that the world might yet pause, listen, and remember. In the pages of medieval history, the tales of countless unnamed women remain largely untold. Their lives were woven into the fabric of a society they helped to shape, but which left them largely undocumented. While chronicles celebrated kings and knights, these women left their legacy in more ephemeral but enduring ways, in the very essence of their communities. From the artisans who crafted inspiring tapestries to the midwives performing miracles in birthing chambers, these women lived in the shadows of obscurity. Their stories, intricate and far-reaching, tell of resilience and quiet strength. Medieval women's influence often slipped into the realm of folklore and tradition. In a world dominated by male legacy, women passed down knowledge essential for their children's survival. This was a world where a skillful weave, a healing salve, or a secret bread recipe was whispered through generations, echoing in the ancient stones of village walls and in the verses of age-old songs. These traces remind us that every great achievement once began as a thread spun by hands now vanished from sight. Women were the unsung architects of domestic life in every manor and every home, shaping daily existence with skill and wisdom. They upheld the intricate dance of survival, teaching and nurturing the next generation with profound impact. Many communities thrived on robust knowledge of textile arts, food preservation, and medicinal craft. Though few women received recognition for their indispensable roles, the hearth, a center of warmth and sustenance, was their domain where oral traditions flourished and ancient skills necessary for running a household were passed down. These rhythms of life, baking, brewing, and sewing, were public affirmations of women's vital contributions, even though they unfolded behind the closed doors of their homes. Tradition often rested on the shoulders of women, the guardians of culture. In a time when stories traveled by word of mouth, women passed down the folklore and history of their communities, using their kitchens and shared spaces as classrooms. These informal lessons ensured the endurance of cultural legacies. As traditions balanced the need for persistence with the inevitability of change, by imparting their wisdom beside candlelight hearths, women taught not just survival, but how to sustain the memory of their world, weaving together the past with resilience. Some women lived on the fringes, carving unique niches of autonomy and expression in defiance of societal norms. These were the herbalists walking the line between healer and witch, the minstrels whose stories traversed the lands. Their quiet rebellions often meant their contributions were underestimated. Yet these acts of resistance outlined a world filled with vibrant complexity. Even those not granted full recognition shaped their communities subtly yet profoundly. However, while society often rigidly defined women's roles, some challenged these constraints directly. Figures like Christine de Pizan skillfully navigated their literary and intellectual worlds, exposing the inequities faced by women and promoting their intellectual potential. For these women, rebellion wore many disguises, running from unwanted fates, battling in legal arenas, and bending social rules to suit new purposes. Their stories crackle with the energy and defiance of women rewriting their narratives, leaving behind echoes in the pages, judgments, and shattered boundaries that inspire reconsideration. Collective memory crafted by generations spoke to an enduring power forged through shared experiences and passed down from mother to daughter. Life's struggles were shared through work and laughter, forming networks that sustained community life and miracles of survival. Women bore witness to history, safeguarding the wisdom of yesteryears for those to follow. Written history, often lacking information about women's contributions, made room for oral traditions that amplified lessons on resilience, humor, and perseverance. Through these stories, listeners gained glimpses into a past shaped by insight and grit. Healers and midwives occupied a unique place, bridging the divide between life and death. In a world teeming with superstition, their practices, ranging from scientific to mystical, blended knowledge with significant personal risk. The herbs and potions, imbued with lore and practical trust, equipped them with quiet competence. Their calling walked a tightrope between savior and villain, depending on the outcomes of their efforts. Yet in their hands rested the complex tapestry of ancient lore and medical practice. Music was an ally to medieval women, providing a vehicle for resistance and expression. Songs conveyed sorrows, joys, and defiance, creating a compelling oral archive of humanity. Within lyrics whispered in chamber corners and tavern halls, the harsh realities and unfulfilled desires of these women found voice, breaking down societal constraints with notes of communal unity. Today's history, incomplete in its male bias, invites imagination to breathe life into the untold stories of medieval women. Each lost name hides an untapped contribution to the cultural landscape, quietly but inextricably woven into the societal fabric. By engaging imagination alongside historical inquiry, we can recapture the vibrancy hidden among Europe's ruins, sketching out fuller narratives rich with invisible influences. Reflecting on medieval women's contributions requires recognizing countless small but significant actions. Against immense odds, these women defied constraints, transforming their world one thread at a time. As we trace the paths marked by the echoes of laughter, song, and struggle, we reconnect with their enduring legacy, a tapestry woven by hands now gone. Reminded of the resilience that defined their lives, we find a history vividly alive. If you enjoyed uncovering these hidden stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to join us for more fascinating journeys into the past.